strong. But sometimes we give it so much weight and we listen to it, and then we end up making decisions based on a lizard in our brain. It's really worth knowing that when you're making decisions and you're nervous and you're anxious. It's a reaction. It's not going to help you create what you want. And then people say, well, doesn't anxiety keep us alive? No, our common sense keeps us alive. You don't need anxiety to keep you alive 99.9% of the time. Yes, if a big scary animal or a man with a gun came in now and we started running away, it would be helpful to have that extra energy, because stuff would happen in our nervous system that would help us run faster and for longer. Okay? I don't want to be completely relaxed when I'm running away from someone. But that has never happened to me. It is not helpful to be shaking on a first date. It is not helpful to be sweating when you're public speaking. There is no benefit to it. I'll never forget, I was interviewing a colleague once for a job, and I was her boss, but we worked in the same room. So I asked her a question in the interview setting, and I knew that she knew the answer, and she couldn't think of it because she was in a freeze response. And I knew that she knew, and she said, "Chris, you know that I know the answer." I can't think of it. And I was like, "I know, Zoe, just calm down." And we moved on to the next question, and halfway through answering the next question, she gave the answer to the previous question because she, calmed down a bit. That's the effect of anxiety on us. It gets in our way. So my viewpoint is there is no point in listening to this unless you are in an actual life-threatening situation, which most of us aren't most of the time. Someone here last time was in the Marines, and he got this. He said that, it was never helpful for him to experience anxiety. And actually in the forces, they get trained to not, fight or freeze. They get trained to run towards it, which is why sometimes they come out with PTSD and they're getting into fights because they're creating fights. Yeah, that's how they're trained, that's how they're conditioned. And the way I see this is, if I'm feeling anxious, I don't tend to listen to it these days. It doesn't serve me, it doesn't serve any others, and it's reacting, not creating. But the other thing I found is that if it makes sense for you to experience anxiety, you will continue to experience anxiety. Another way of thinking about anxiety is actually just calling it stress. So in the dictionary, they distinguish between anxiety and stress. They will say it's two different things. Actually, your body doesn't know the difference between stress and anxiety. As far as your nervous system is concerned, anxiety and stress have exactly the same response in your body. There's no difference. With anxiety and stress, there's only a difference in language, in semantics. It's the same thing. Your brain will signal your adrenal glands to release cortisol and noradrenaline and pump your heart up and make you sweat, make you feel nervous, give you butterflies in your tummy. That's it. You don't need it to do what you want to do. But people have concerns about getting rid of this because we're conditioned that this is normal. But it's normal, not natural. Most people, most of the time, are in some level of this. They did this study where they looked at objective and subjective measures of stress and anxiety. So what they did it with senior leaders in a corporate company in America. And they got them to, for a few weeks, rate their subjective level of stress, which basically means there was a questionnaire. No, actually it was an app on their phone. And they had, randomly it would go off throughout the day and say, how stressed do you feel right now on a scale of 0 to 10? So 10 is like really stressed, 0 is not stressed at all. And it would go off throughout the day, so it would get a notification and you would record how stressed you are. But then what they did is they also scored objective measures of stress. So they had their galvanic skin response, they had their heart rate. Anyway, they measured an objective level of stress. And what they found is that there was a huge difference, a huge mismatch between what they thought their stress levels were and what they actually were. So they'd go into work and they'd be trying to find a car parking space and their thing would go off and they'd say, I'm not stressed at all. But the objective measure would say, well, your heart rate's saying otherwise. They would open their emails in the morning and their stress levels would go up. They'd report no stress, but the graph is saying different, yeah? On the drive home, eating dinner, their stress levels are still high. Because stress in our society is so normal, we're so conditioned to think that that's how you should be, that we think that it's okay and that it's normal. Like, there's certain people that will say to me, and they say, how's work going? Busy? As if busy is the measure of my success. And I wind them up and I say, I try not to be, because I do. Burnout is almost like a badge of honor, I don't know if it's a guy thing, but particularly if you're a guy and you're not burnt out, you're doing something wrong. Yeah, actually you're doing something right. We are so busy. We're meant to work 40 plus hours a week and do this and do that and go to the gym. Going to the gym is a stressor. It's not a bad thing, but it creates stress in your body. So there's only so much stress you can handle until you're going to get burnt out. So this here is one of the biggest forms of motivation that we have. And there's physiological aspects. Your body will do physical things. There's be an emotional component, but there's also a cognitive component. There's thinking that goes on, like things like worries and concerns and judgments and things like that. We have fears of criticism. And if we're scared that someone's going to say something and we start listening to this, we're not going to do the thing that we say we want to do. But the thing that I found is that if it makes sense for you to have stress, then you will have stress. Amazingly, I've also found when you change the way stress makes sense to you, you experience less stress. So I'm going to ask you a question on this, and it's going to help you see what's causing your stress, and then you can transform your relationship to it. So the question is, if I could wave my magic wand and get rid of your ability to experience stress, if I could get rid of your ability to not experience worry, to experience concern, to experience fear, what would your concerns be? And I want you to ponder this for a moment. If I could remove your ability to worry, if I could remove your ability to experience any form of stress or concern, why might that scare you? Why might you not want me to do that? Imagine if I'm a surgeon and I say I've got this new breakthrough technique and I'm going to cut out the part of your brain that allows you to experience stress, anxiety, fear, worry, concern. Why might you not want me to do that?
Why do you still want to hold on to them?
Is anxiety excitement sort of on a path, that sort of feeling?
Some people say that. I personally, in my personal professional opinion, disagree. Some people will say, yeah, if you just tell yourself you're excited, then you'll be excited. I haven't found that worked.
No, I just wondered if, you know that anxiety feeling, sometimes you